what gives here. Was she really qualified? Yeah, I take the same test that the guys take.
Of course.
Same portion, same evaluation.
So hello everyone, we are now live from the terrace of the Aéroport de France, and on this fourth day of the Paris Air Show, we are honored to welcome a truly prestigious guest. As this edition is dedicated to the promotion of women in aviation and aerospace, we have the great pleasure of hosting the Captain Theresa Claiborne. Hello.
Hello, thank you for having me.
And thank you very much for being here with us.
Can't think of anywhere else I'd rather be.
So first of all, welcome to the Paris Air Show. Have you had the time to explore a bit?
A little bit. I'm here with Coleman Worldwide and then with the Endeavor Scholarship. So they've been keeping me a little bit busy, but we have had time to go and look at some of the airplanes and just to see how great this is. I mean, this is my first time ever here.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
And this 55th edition places a strong emphasis on gender equality. What does that mean for you? Is it the good time to do that?
I think so. I think it really is. You know, we're always striving to do better, so this is amazing. It's amazing.
And can you talk about your career? Because you have a remarkable career in aviation. So can you explain a bit your personal journey?
Yeah. So I got into aviation because I just happened to be going to a military type camp. I was going to go in to be an officer, and they gave us a ride on a T-37, and it was a jet, and we did acro, and I was like, oh my gosh, I've got to do that.
You fell in love.
So I went in the military and became a pilot, and I just happened to be the first black woman pilot in the Air Force, so it just kind of started this chain thing, and flew the KC-135, which is a Boeing 707. Left active duty after 7 years, went to United Airlines and flew just about every Boeing in the fleet except for the 777.
Oh, really?
And I retired just last year on the Boeing 787 as a captain.
And at the moment, what gave the drive to do it anyway? You didn't have any role model because there were very few women and no black women in the U.S. Air Force?
There weren't. You know what? I had a mother who gave birth to me at the age of 16. She didn't finish even high school. And she just always instilled in me to get an education. That was number one. And just to be the best that I could always be. And she told me I could do virtually anything I wanted to do. I couldn't be an NBA star as a center, not at 5'2", but she encouraged me to do everything else. And so once I started flying, I decided, you know what, you got to be the best that you can be. And being the first, there is a lot of pressure. Yes. You know that people are watching you to see how you do, so that the next young ladies that come along,
you become a role model.
Exactly.
And so the environment you grew up in, like your family, your community, really encouraged you to dream big, right?
Yes, my mother more than
really
anyone else. And I was the oldest child in my family, so you know, my little brothers were just running around looking at what I was doing. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And so once you arrived in the military aviation in the U.S. Air Force, what kind of atmosphere did you encounter?
It was mostly, I would say it was mostly good.
Yeah.
There were people who obviously looked at me like, what are you doing here? And you know, did you get here only because you're a black woman and it's filling a square? Yeah. So I always had to battle against that. So, you know, my mother always said to me, do A work and get an A. So that was implanted in me. So it's like, okay, well, you're asking the question why I'm here, or you're looking at me like, why are you here? I'm going to show you why I'm here. I'm going to be really good.
So,
and
really
so that kept me going.
Yeah. And later on, you moved to the civilian world, right?
Yes.
So at United?
At United Airlines, yes.
And you flew there for almost 30 years? Is that
34
right?
and a half years.
34 and a half.
Yeah, United gives me credit for 34, but it's 34 and a half.
Claim it.
Yeah, like a little kid, right? I'm 6 and a half.
And so can you explain to us the transition? Was it a shock? Did you find another atmosphere?
It wasn't a shock. I wouldn't call it a shock. You know, you're still expected to perform. You know, in the military, you have a crew, you fly with the same people for the most part, and you go out and you do a mission. So you got to make the timing right, because I was in a refueler. And in the airlines, I'm worried about the safety of my passengers, getting them from point A to point B on time. Same kind of parameters,
but a change
really.
of mindset, maybe just.
Not really.
Not even.
You know, because my my feelings have always been to be the best I can be. And when I became a captain, I remember saying to my crew, listen, how can, I know I'm a good pilot. Am I a good commander? Am I a good captain? And so I'm always striving to be the best that I could be. So it really wasn't that much of a change for me, not really.
So even now that you are retired, you are in many programs and you founded the Sisters of the Sky Association. Can you talk to us about that?
Yeah, so I was at the beginning of Sisters of the Skies. I was one of the founding members. When we got together, it was two women that talked about how many, do you know any other black women pilots? Because there's not that many of us. In our organization now, we have about 180 women. So black women make up less than a half of 1% of the industry in the United States. So very small number of women that are doing this. So the whole thing is to make sure that we get our numbers up, you know, and so that involves mentorship. That involves making sure that they know these are the hurdles you're going to have to go through. These are the buildups. These are the thunderstorms. These are, you know, this is how you get through that. So it's all good.
So in this association, really, you prepare young women to become pilots, that's right?
Well, we don't necessarily train them. They're in training, but I probably shouldn't say this, but I tend to think that women have some unique, not problems, but unique experiences involved with aviation than men do. It's still pretty much their game, and we're going into their game, and so you have to know how to play the game. And so that's one of the things that SOS really, really reaches out to. It's three-pronged. We give scholarships. You know, you have to have money. Aviation is very expensive.
Of course.
And you have mentorship, and that's where we come in with mentorship. And the other prong is that we're outreach. So we like to involve young girls from the age of 10 to 18, and we take them up in an airplane and let them see what it's like, because we believe if you can see it, you can be it. So when they look at us and see, wow, she's a pilot. Yes, you can be a pilot too.
And is it also what you do in your role as an ambassador for United Airlines?
Yeah, I do a little bit of that. I go to a lot of colleges, speak to a lot of colleges that are involved with our Aviate program. You know, United has their own school, aviation school. So it involves them, and it involves other universities that also are looking to, we're looking to get pilots from them.
Of course.
So yeah, so I'm just encouraging, and you know, if they're like on the, do I want to go here or do I want to go there? You want to come here. You want to come to United. So yeah.
So you really chose to mentor. Why is it really that important for you? You could have just retired after that remarkable and historic career, but you really chose to mentor.
I think we're all given a job in life. I think that's part of mine, that I'm just not supposed to sit on my hands. I'm supposed to give back. And I didn't have a mentor, and I know that it would have been really, really good to have one. So that's my job.
So if you had just like one wish for the next generation of women pilots, or pilots in general, what would it be?
I think the main thing is that I want us to be able to step on the stage and just be taken for who we are. Not necessarily what we look like, what sex we are, right? What color we are. And just look at someone and say, oh, they want to fly. Let's see if they can fly. That's it.
And what do we need to change so that this shift can happen in the aviation world?
I think people just need to have an open mind. I have this hat on. I don't know if you're familiar with the YouTube video, but I was asked the question about the fact that there are some people who look at women pilots and say, what gives here? Is she really qualified? Yeah, I take the same tests that the guys take.
Of course.
Same courses, same evaluations, all of that. I am as qualified as the next. So it would be nice if we looked at people and we said, they're flying our airplane, they must be qualified. Let's go. Let's go fly.
Of course. And what is the biggest challenge you faced in your career? Was it the entry in the US Air Force or at United? What is the biggest challenge, really?
Well, I had to tiptoe when I was in the military because I'm short. I'm only 5'2". So I kind of stood on the balls of my feet. And then when I first learned to fly, I flew in a Piper Tomahawk, which I'm sure you don't even know what that looks like, but it has a very long nose.
Yeah.
And so my instructor happened to be about as short as me, and she said, I'm going to teach you how to land looking at your peripheral. That was the biggest obstacle, I think. But once I learned how to do that, piece of cake.
And this is one of the biggest skills of pilots, I guess.
You have to be able to land, yeah.
Yes, and,
Yeah.
and to be pragmatic. I mean,
Yes.
to find means to adapt yourself to the aircraft, the environment,
That's right.
etc.
That's right.
Okay, and what is the biggest success that you've done in your career? Even though the whole career is a huge and beautiful success, what is the maybe one moment you were flying and you were thinking to yourself, well, this is why I fly, you know?
Yeah. You know what? I don't think I can really. It's hard. It's hard to pinpoint one thing. I think I waited a while to bid captain at United, and some people were saying, why haven't you bid captain? I said, well, you know, I've been an instructor on a KC-135 in the military, and, you know, left seat, fly both seats. I don't need to prove anything by being a captain at United. But once I became a captain on a 787, I was like, oh, this is pretty nice. This is pretty nice. I like it. I think the biggest accomplishment was when I took my mother on my retirement flight, believe it or not. And my family came along. There's something special about people. My mother got to see why I wasn't always around, and she saw the pride and the joy of people that flew with me, and it was a good thing.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And so, as I said in the introduction, so the 55th edition is dedicated to gender equality. Have you seen some things? I know you didn't have a huge amount of time to explore the salon, but have you seen some things that have made you think, well, they're really tackling the topic actually?
You know, it goes and comes. I think that just in what's happening in the world itself, I think that we still need to pay attention to it. Women are qualified, and I wish that everybody felt that we were. We're not trying to make a big deal about it. We're just trying to say that we deserve to be in this space. Yeah, we're equal.
And I guess that with all the challenges that aviation is facing right now, like decarbonization and etc., what would it be without women, right?
Listen, one of the best compliments I ever had was from a guy that I was flying with. There were 3 of us women. This was in the military. There were 3 of us women on the airplane. I was the captain, and then I had a first officer that was a woman, and then the navigator was also a woman, and he was the only male. He was the boom operator. And we got down and we were debriefing, and he says, can I say something? And it's like, of course you can say something. That's what we're doing. We're debriefing. And he goes, Ace, this was the best flight I've ever been on. I'm like, what? He goes, this is the best flight I've ever been on. I said, well, why is that? And he said, there was no testosterone bouncing all over the flight deck. I'm like, whoa. We have something to offer. You know, we're good pilots.
And our presence, I guess, balances the atmospheres in the different
Yes, it does.
points.
Don't let anybody tell you that it doesn't. I've had other guys say as well, this is really amazing, this was great. And, you know, we found time to talk about whatever, life. We talked about life.
And I have a little curiosity, among all the aircraft you have had the chance to fly on, which one is your favorite? Do you have a favorite one?
I have a favorite, a Boeing 747-400.
Really?
Yes, and I mean, I went out on the 787, which is a beautiful airplane,
Yeah.
but the 747-400 is the queen of the skies.
Yeah.
It just is. Air France has one sitting over here on display, right? I mean, it's not a 400, but it's a 747, and there's nothing like that airplane.
And why is that? What do you like the most about this aircraft specifically?
4 engines is good.
Yeah.
That's one thing. It's just majestic, everything about it. When it would fly over, you knew. When I was a first officer and I did my walk-arounds, you hear it. You hear the engine spool up.
You truly recognize it by sound.
Oh, yes.
That's amazing.
Turn around, and I would actually physically stop my walk-around. I'm no longer looking at my airplane, and I'm going to watch it take off. And it's so big and so beautiful. And it's like, how does that happen? That's flight. And most people who are pilots, we do that. We stop and listen and we watch. We can't help it.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
And do you still have the time to fly now that you are retired?
I have not been flying since I retired, except for as a passenger, because I stay fairly busy.
Yeah.
But I do have a little bit of an inkling to get in the air.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see. I got an offer today. I might come back to France and fly
You're
with
most
Catherine.
welcome to come back here and to fly
Do a
with
little
our
acro
with our
would be
president.
awesome. Hint, hint.
Great. So as we wrap up, is there something that you will take away from this 55th edition of the Paris Air Show?
I will. First of all, it was my first time.
Yeah.
I feel a certain kinship to Paris and to France because of one of my heroes, Bessie,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Okay.
Bessie came to France because they would not teach her how to fly in the United States of America. I'm getting chills right now. So she came here on a boat. About 4 years ago, I came here with another young lady, a black woman, and we have a picture of us on the flight deck, and I made the comment, I said, Bessie would be proud of us because we're flying a 787 to France, to Paris.
That's highly symbolic,
And she
right?
took a boat. So that's my tie to France.
That's great. And a last word maybe for all the young women listening to us right now. What is your advice if they are like hesitating or wondering about the aviation world? What would you say to them?
Keep your head up. If this is something you want to do, go for it. There are people out there who would tell you maybe this isn't for you because you had one bad ride. I had bad rides. We've all had rides where it was like, oh, wow, I didn't do what I was supposed to do, but I'm here to talk about it, so it wasn't that bad. So I would say to young women, don't let people convince you that you can't do it. Keep your head, I say the eyes on the prize. Keep your head in it. If you really want to do it, study hard and be the best. Be the best.
And I think that this is an amazing conclusion. So thank you very, very much, Captain
You're
Claiborne,
very, very welcome.
for this exchange. It's very nice to meet you.
You too.
And thank you for the advices we had the chance to share with all our viewers and listeners. So thank you very much.
Fantastic. Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate it.